In the fast-moving world of news, it's easy to miss the meaning between the lines. That's where we come in. Each episode, we take real headlines from Newsline Philippines and let AI break them down. Not just the what, but the why it matters.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep today into an article you shared with us. It's from Newsline Philippines. And it really focuses on a pretty significant public health situation happening right now in the Davao region of the Philippines.
Yeah, it's a focused piece.
Right. So our mission here with this source is to kind of cut through the noise and really get to the core of what it's telling us. We want to understand the key data points the article presents, the numbers behind this reported surge in HIV cases there, and where exactly these cases are concentrated, and also, crucially, how the communities, the people on the ground, are responding, both in, remembering those they've lost and also in the fight against the disease itself and the stigma that comes with it.
Exactly. This source gives us a very specific look at a concerning trend. It highlights not just the static numbers, the totals, but the change that's happening, the dynamics, and alongside that, the very real sort of human response that's captured in the report.
Okay, so diving straight in then, the overall picture from the article is, it's quite stark, isn't it? The Davao region is seeing a substantial increase in HIV cases. The article notes it has the highest numbers in Mindanao.
That's right.
And if you look nationally, since reporting began way back in 1984, this one region accounts for 6% of all the cases in the country. Yeah,
the article puts that cumulative number for the region since 84 at 8,350 cases. That's as of March 2025. So that's a significant baseline figure to get your head around right away.
That's the total over decades, which is, sobering. But the number that really jumps out from this source, for me anyway, is the rate of increase they talk about recently.
It's a critical detail. The article points out that in just the first quarter of 2025 alone, so January to March, the region recorded 306 new cases.
Okay.
Now, what makes that number really stand out is when you compare it to the previous quarter. That quarter saw 253 cases. So that's a 21% surge in new cases in just 3 months.
Wow, 21%.
Yeah. The source really highlights this sharp jump. It suggests an accelerating trend, not just a steady rise.
A 21% leap in one quarter really underlines the urgency the source seems to be conveying. Now, the article also maps out exactly where these cases are located. Across the region, as of March 2025, where's the concentration?
Well, according to the data they present, Davao City is clearly leading. It has 4,855 cases.
Okay, the vast majority then.
Yeah, by far. After that, you've got Davao del Norte, that's 1,025 cases. Then the numbers drop off a bit. Davao del Sur is at 443. Davao de Oro, 369. Davao Oriental has 246. And Davao Occidental, 128.
Okay.
And the article also specifically mentions Digos City. It notes it had 261 cases back in January 2025, which apparently ranks at third overall within the Davao region.
Right. So while Davao City is definitely the epicenter, it's an issue touching multiple areas within the region. Beyond just the location, the source also gives us a picture of who's being most affected and how it's reported to be spreading.
Yeah, the demographics reported show the majority of cases are among males, specifically in the 25 to 34 age group. That's the key bracket mentioned.
25 to 34.
And the primary mode of transmission noted is sexual contact. The article specifically highlights male-to-male sexual contact as the dominant route according to their data.
Okay. Seeing those specific numbers, locations, demographics, it gives you a pretty clear view of the scale and shape of the problem, at least as it's presented in this source. But like you said, the article doesn't just stop at the data. It moves on to how communities are actively responding, which feels like a really crucial counterbalance to those difficult statistics.
Absolutely. It shows that, alongside the health crisis itself, there's significant community engagement happening. It's not just passive.
Yeah. The source highlights specific Candlelight Memorials. For instance, Digos City held their observance of the International AIDS Candlelight Memorial just recently, May 21st, 2025, at their city gymnasium.
And Cotabato Province also held an event just a bit earlier, May 18th. Theirs was at the Cotabato Regional Medical Center.
And what's compelling, I think, from the source is the stated purpose behind these gatherings. It's not just one thing. They're described as, serving multiple roles. honoring those lost to HIV/AIDS, supporting people currently living with the virus,
Right.
intensifying public awareness, getting the word out, and maybe most importantly, directly confronting and combating the stigma and discrimination around HIV/AIDS.
It paints a clear picture, doesn't it? That the community response is really trying to tackle both the direct impact of the disease and those complex social factors surrounding it.
Totally. The Digos City event, as the source details it, featured some pretty powerful voices. The city health officer, Dr. Milagros Sunga, spoke about the need for awareness and compassion, both things. Then Nurse Mary Jane Dawfiles presented the local stats, the actual numbers for their area we were just discussing. And at Eri, Jahari Banya made this really strong plea for unity in ending stigma, promoting compassion. The article actually quotes him saying, "We honor lives lost and push for a community grounded in empathy and action."
That quote really does capture it, doesn't it? It sums up the intention moving from just remembrance to tangible action that's fueled by empathy.
Yeah. And the article notes the Digos ceremony ended with symbolic candle lighting, a community song. It sounds like it reinforced those themes: remembrance, unity, hope.
Yeah.
And the Cotabato province event was described similarly. Healthcare workers, community leaders, advocates, all coming together for remembrance, solidarity, also emphasizing awareness, compassion, action, same core messages.
And the source does a good job placing these local events within that bigger picture by mentioning the International AIDS Candlelight Memorial itself.
Right, that it's observed globally every year, third Sunday of May. It's this worldwide platform. And the article points out the theme for 2025 was "We remember, we rise, we lead."
So it shows how these local efforts are, they're connected to a global movement tackling the same things. Definitely. Now, moving from that community response, the source also touches on the ongoing practical efforts and some of the challenges that remain. It mentions that local health units are providing free antiretroviral therapy, RT, and support services, which is, that's fundamental.
Absolutely essential, yeah. But even with that crucial resource available, the article highlights specific challenges. It notes difficulties in, reaching younger populations effectively and ensuring that people actually stick to their treatment plans consistently.
Adherence, right.
Exactly. And if we connect this back to the data the source gave us earlier, these challenges become particularly significant. Remember, the majority of new cases reported are in that 25 to 34 age bracket.
Right. So when the source highlights difficulties in reaching younger populations, well, it seems to directly intersect with this key demographic. It kind of raises the question, doesn't it? Implied by the source, I mean. Why might this group be harder to reach or harder to engage consistently in care, especially when free services are available? And, consistent adherence to RT is absolutely vital. So any difficulty there directly impacts health outcomes and wider control efforts.
Okay, so looking at all this from the source, the accelerating numbers, the specific demographics, the locations, this powerful community response, and these identified challenges, what does it all kind of boil down to?
Well, based purely on this Newsline Philippines article, you get a picture of a significant and apparently escalating public health issue in the Davao region. It's heavily impacting a specific age group, particularly in urban centers like Davao City. And even with essential things like free art and these really meaningful community actions focused on awareness and reducing stigma, the challenges the source mentions, particularly around reaching certain age groups and ensuring treatment adherence, they just underscore that this is a complex, ongoing fight. It's happening on multiple fronts.
Yeah. And maybe a final thought, perhaps, for you listening, drawing on these themes from the article. What is that strong community emphasis on remembrance, on unity, on actively combating stigma? What does it tell us about the broader societal dynamics? When we're facing a public health crisis like this one described, the source makes it pretty clear it's not just about the medical statistics, right? It seems deeply intertwined with the human experience, with social barriers, and that collective effort needed to overcome them. Something to think about.